Ever wondered how to turn your dreams into money? PHOCIS Capital is unlocking the secret. Stick around to find out how you can invest in your future. I was truly amazed to meet Nate Cater, the mind behind PHOCIS Capital. With over 15 years of experience in finance, real estate, and fintech, Nate has a unique blend of skills that makes him a powerhouse in the industry. Starting his journey as a United States Marine, Nate learned the importance of discipline and leadership early on, which paved the way for a successful career in mortgage brokerage and property development. As the CEO and founder of PHOCIS Capital, Nate is on a mission to change the way financial management works for lenders. I can't wait for you to learn more about how Nate's innovative ideas are addressing big problems in the financial world. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Welcome back. In today's episode, we'll explore how Nate's groundbreaking work at PHOCIS Capital is shaking up the financial industry, helping lenders earn money in new ways, and transforming the traditional escrow process. Get ready to dive into his incredible journey and big ideas. Nate Cater from PHOCIS Capital is changing the game in escrow services. By creating a digital clearing platform, Nate found a way for lenders to earn money on funds they used to lose through high fees. The secret? Building strong partnerships and listening to the market. Nate emphasizes that it's all about teamwork, flexibility, and being open to new ideas. If you're starting your own business, remember, trust your team and stay adaptable. That's how fast growth happens. Welcome to the Founder Show. Today we're thrilled to have Nate Cater, the founder of PHOCIS Capital, joining us. The Founder Show is all about sharing amazing stories from startups and visionaries like you. We reach a huge audience, inspiring over 100,000 subscribers. Whether you're starting out or growing your business, we're here to help you connect and thrive. So let's get started. Hi Nate, this is Vats from the Founders Show. Thanks for joining this podcast, and I'm so glad to have you here with me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Nate. Thanks for asking. Let's dive right in. What's the name of your startup, and what big problem are you aiming to solve?
Thank you for asking. The name of our startup is PHOCIS Capital. It's spelled PHOCIS. It was named after the town of Phocis in an ancient Greek mythology, which was their version of Atlantis. So we went towards that for the name of our company, because what we're doing is we're essentially changing the way that escrow companies work within the United States and Canada, in the sense that we're taking funds from real estate transactions and we're not sending out any invoices, sending out checks in perpetuity. And I'd love to kind of explain to you how.
Okay. That's such a fascinating name, Nate, and I love the mythology, and it gives your brand a unique story. Changing the way escrow companies work sounds like a bold and innovative move. I'm curious, what inspired you to tackle this specific problem in the real estate and escrow space?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I have a background in finance originally. I was a mortgage broker, so I would fund residential mortgages or clients that refinance. So I was pretty well versed in the finance aspect. After I did that for 10 years, I then went on to develop real estate throughout Los Angeles, and we built a bunch of properties over a 5-year period. And when I was building real estate, I was borrowing money from private money lenders. And this is where I realized the problem at hand is there's 13 Canada that require for private money lenders to hold cash out funds. So I'll give you a quick example. Let's say that you're approved for a $500,000 and you want to build a house. The lender doesn't give you the $500,000. What they do is they put it in an escrow account, and that escrow company charges the lender a lot to move that money to you. So what we did was we essentially built a form. We're calling it a digital clearing platform because the accounts all hit zero. So we're basically clearing out all the accounts. But we're calling it a digital clearing platform where lenders are able to put those same funds on our books. And instead of us charging them a fee to manage and hold those funds, we built an APY-yielding account with our banking partner, who happens to be Wells Fargo. Clients a revenue in perpetuity at 1% APY, which we're paying out monthly. So they're now receiving a new stream of revenue instead of receiving the same old invoices.
Wow, Nate, that's an incredible journey. It's clear your background in finance and real estate gave you a deep understanding of the inefficiencies in the system. I love how you flipped the traditional model on its head, turning what used to be a cost into a revenue stream for lenders. That's a game changer. How did you go about building this digital clearing platform? Did you face any major challenges while developing the technology or partnering with Wells Fargo?
It was so many challenges. This has been about 3 years in the making. So the first year we had a banking partner and we weren't able to receive APY revenue. Wasn't there for the smaller banks for them to open me up an account with the $0 balance. And I just remember thinking, if I had $1 million in cash, I wouldn't need you. So it took a little bit of time for the technology and the treasury accounts, essentially the APYs that we're connecting, the APIs that we're connecting to these banks. It took us a long time to find a partnering bank that was able to move the money the way that we wanted to, and also because banks obviously have some very standards and protocols, which we can all understand why. So finding that happy medium took us a long time. We went through, I think, 3 different banks before we landed where we currently are. So we're currently partnering with Wells Fargo. So we're putting our funds on their books, which is great. They have a great technology team behind them that's assisting us. Our tech team now is finishing building out the connections between Wells Fargo and our technologies, because we are looking to relaunch, I'm hoping by the end of January. So within the next 3 weeks or so, we will be reopening with a new hosting bank and being able to onboard these lenders, as I said, for a revenue in perpetuity in lieu of invoices. So yeah, we're really excited to see what happens with the market. We have a couple lenders that were dropping rates down below. I'm really excited to see what the market's going to do, because this is essentially adding a 15 to 20% revenue swing to these banks. It's a I don't like the term game changer, but it does change the process of originating loans, of selling money. Where you're investing your funds. Are you putting more money out on this? Are you holding more money internally because you're now making an APY revenue for these companies for the first time? So I'm really interested to see how the market is going to change based on this influx of revenue that they haven't seen before.
That's an incredible journey, Nate, and it's clear you've faced and overcome some serious hurdles to get here. I can only imagine the frustration of navigating those early banking challenges, but it sounds like your persistence and vision really paid off. Partnering with Wells Fargo and building those API connections must have been a huge milestone. I love how you're not just innovating for lenders, but potentially reshaping the entire market dynamic. That 15 to 20% revenue swing is massive. It could genuinely shift how lenders operate and compete. How are you preparing for the potential ripple effects this might create in the industry? Are you already seeing interest or pushback from competitors or traditional players?
Well, what's interesting is we've been pretty, to answer your last question, we've been pretty underground. When we first launched in November with a separate partnering bank at the time, we had 11 lenders that were onboarded. So we haven't gotten too big yet. Now that we're relaunching, I do plan on getting out to trade shows and getting in front of our client base, just because it is a pretty niche market currently. But I've noticed the biggest hurdle that I'm having just with the nicheness is the educational play, because a lot of these guys are used to the same process. They've been doing it for 20 or 30 years. So when I come in and I say, hey, not only am I going to do it for free, but I'm also going to pay you, these antennas tend to go up. And 9 times out of 10, when I have these discussions with the bank, their first question is, well, how do you get paid? Meaning PHOCIS Capital. So it's a lot of education where I'm saying, this is how it works. This is how we built it. I have to explain in a lot of detail exactly what we did, which might give away some of our secrets. But going back to your first question, we don't have any competition. I don't have anybody that's doing this. I've spoken with probably 8 of the top 15 banks that would even make this possible for somebody like us to build it, and it's not there. So we're very, 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 we couldn't be more pleased that we have the first strike at the market. Usually the first technology that comes out is either going to be really great or really awful. So to plan on how the market is going to move, I have no idea. I can assume best case scenario is either going to flood towards us, or I think it's going to flood towards us regardless, to be perfectly honest. These that like to make money, and we're removing an invoice and adding revenue streams. So I'm optimistically bullish about, I've also, for example, I sent out an email yesterday to our shareholders, letting them know that we're looking to onboard anywhere between $1 to $5 million a day. At $1 million a day would be in the top 5 fintech companies in the country, potentially in the world, just for onboarding. And knowing that our goal, which we see very achievable, would put us in the top of the top, is something that it's something that's really propelling us to move forward, just because we do know that we are going to be able to change an industry. And I do know that a couple of our board members, our private money lenders, are retired. I actually had a great conversation with one yesterday who was a really great mentor to me when I was building. And their excitement for what we're building from people within the industry who are just learning about it helps our confidence that we're on the right track. Like we're going in the right direction, in a direction that hasn't really been explored. So the fact that we have so much momentum behind us is something that I don't think you can buy. This is something that you kind of have to build with the team, and I'm so proud of our guys for this. Like, this is really cool.
That's absolutely incredible, Nate. It's clear you're not just building a product, you're pioneering a whole new way of thinking in this space. I can see how the educational aspect would be a challenge, especially when you're disrupting decades-old processes. But the fact that you've had such strong early traction, even while staying under the radar, speaks volumes about the potential here. I love how you're balancing optimism with a grounded approach, especially with the mentorship and support from industry veterans. It's rare to have no direct competition in such a lucrative space, and it sounds like you're seizing that first mover advantage brilliantly. You mentioned your team. What's been your approach to building and leading the team that's driving this innovation? How do you keep everyone aligned and motivated, especially during such a transformative journey?
That's a great question. To be honest, the first year, I really had trouble with it. My background was, I was in the Marine Corps. I came from pushing really hard. And when this came to fruition, this PHOCIS Capital project that we started, I realized very quickly that you can push really hard when you know exactly what you're doing. But when you're creating art and you're creating something from scratch, there's nowhere to push because you don't technically know where you're going. You have an idea of what you want to achieve, but you don't have a clear road to get there. So after the first year of frustration and, probably not being the most pleasant person, I realized very quickly that this isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. I need everybody with me. Essentially, after the first bank didn't work out, I changed everything where I found for new banks. I found new revenue streams. I brought my team in. I gave them equity in the company on top of paying a couple of our guys overseas, some of our full stack developers. Our CTO, I gave extra stake to just because she's been working, her jobs plus our jobs getting us going. So to answer your question, what I realized very quickly is you can either be a tyrant or you can be a partner. And I don't know too many people that like tyrants. And that's it. Just be as great as you can to your people. Give them what they need to achieve the goal. And I constantly remind them that it's not me asking. It's not my CTO, Maureen, asking. It's the greater good of this company that we're going to be able to build something. And then I just wanted to add, one of our full stack developers, his name is originally born in Afghanistan. And after we met him and he started developing for us, we were able to assist him in getting a visa where he's now in Manchester, England, going to the University of Manchester, finishing up his graduate degree while he's also building for us. And knowing that knowing that we were able to make this happen for him, like make a personal dream happen for him while we're also facilitating the dream that we're all putting together, like that was a big turning point where I went, okay, this isn't just a project. This is a lifelong thing. And I just realized the more you give away, the more you get. And luckily I'm in a field where I can do that. I don't have investors over my head. There's not a bunch of people pulling dividends out. We don't have any debt. So I'm able to sit back and say, okay, these are the people that got me here, and these are the people that I want to continue. Yeah, that's really it. Just not going against your team, especially when you're building something from scratch. It's not business, it's art. I see business as chopping numbers in half and diluting, and getting rid of redundant employees. To me, that's a businessman. It's a little bit more ruthless. I don't want any of that. We're trying to build something that's never been built before. And I truly believe when you're making art, it's not forced. And I need everybody's collaboration, because my full stack developer will knows so much more than I do on his side. Or we have another, he's our website developer. He's out of Delhi, India, and we gave him, just because he's been working with us for a year now. We still pay the guys, but I want them to have ownership of this. I don't want it to be a project for them. I want it to be a life thing, because I think that that's the best way you're going to get your talent to create, something for the greater good. Again, it has to be a team game, or you don't succeed.
That's such a powerful philosophy, Nate. It's inspiring to hear how you've shifted from pushing hard to fostering collaboration and treating your team like true partners. The way you've empowered your team with equity, opportunities, and a shared vision is remarkable. It's clear you're building more than just a company. You're creating a community. The story about PHOCIS and how you helped him achieve his personal dream while he contributes to PHOCIS Capital is just incredible. It really shows how much you value the people behind the work. And giving your team ownership, both literally and figuratively, is such a smart way to ensure they're as invested in the mission as you are. It sounds like you've built a culture of trust, creativity, and shared purpose. How do you see this culture evolving as PHOCIS Capital grows? Do you have any strategies in mind to maintain this sense of collaboration and ownership as the team expands?
I can honestly say I don't. I always try to be 100% honest. I don't. And that scares me a little bit. Right now, we're so steadfast on just making sure our APIs are connected correctly. We're going to start implementing an SAC2 protection, just because we've been learning over the last 3 to 4 months that that's kind of the elite data protection currently for our clients, and considering our clients are essentially banks. That's where our current focus is just on building out the infrastructure that we need to make this happen. I'm very aware we're going to need, I'm currently in the process of dealing with some back-end customers. So I'm very aware that are going to come that I have no clue about, but I'm not there yet. So I can't worry about something that's not there. I just need to get this thing open, and I have a feeling that the market and our clients are going to let us know exactly what we need. Like I've always been a true client. They'll tell you what you're doing wrong.
That's such an honest and grounded perspective, Nate, and I really respect that. It's refreshing to hear a founder admit they don't have all the answers yet, especially when you're in the thick of building something so transformative. It sounds like you're laser focused on getting the foundation right, which is absolutely the right move at this stage. I love your approach of letting the market and your clients guide the next steps. It's a smart way to stay adaptable and ensure you're solving real problems as they arise. And honestly, that mindset of listening and learning will probably serve you just as well when it comes to scaling your team and culture. As you're gearing up for this relaunch, what's the one thing you're most excited about in the next few months? Is there a milestone or moment you're really looking forward to?
There's a couple. Relaunching would be great. That would be great. Putting my board of directors together for me. I had a lot of people that supported me in my earlier years when I wasn't as developed of a human being as I am now. I had let's say, a rough past, if you will. So being able to give back to the people that got me here is really, really, really important. But they're in the business. They know more than I do. They're skilled with 30 to 40 years of knowledge. So putting that board together is really, I'm very aware of how ignorant I am in so many different areas. So being able to put a team together where I can bounce ideas back and forth would be great. I'm also part of the Founders Network, The Founders Network is a network of founders based out of San Francisco initially, but there's chapters everywhere. So that's another need help with a contract when there's a deal where I can put a blog out or a post out to 5,000 or 6,000 people that have done it before me that have insight or connections, if you will. So to answer your question, the next big for us would be getting a team together where I feel more secure in the decisions that I'm making because it's not essentially just me. The second goal would be in April, there's a big private money lender convention. And being able to have the revenue to go there, having the backing to say, hey, listen, we have X amount of lenders on our books. We've raised this much money. And not only have we raised this much money, but we've also paid out X amount in perpetuity to other private money lenders just like yourself. So getting on a stage, I think, would be the next big milestone, as that would bring us out into the light, if you will. We're the proverbial, the tall nail that gets the hand, sticking our neck out and saying, hey, this is who we are. This is what we do. We're doing something completely different than what you've ever seen, and you're going to make a lot of money. Who's with us? And then let's see what happens, because that's really all we can do. I can send emails all day, but when I can sit in a room with 10,000 of my potential clients and look them all in the eye and say, only one that's doing something that you've never heard of.
That's such a powerful vision, Nate. Relaunching, building your board, and stepping onto that stage in April, it's all coming together in such an exciting way. I love how you're not just focused on the business side, but also on giving back to the people who've supported you and surrounding yourself with experienced voices to guide the journey. That humility and willingness to learn are going to be huge assets as you scale. And that moment in April, standing in front of your peers and potential clients, sounds like it could be a defining one for PHOCIS Capital. It's bold, but it's clear you're ready to take that leap and show the industry what you've built. I can already imagine the energy in that room when you present something so innovative and game-changing. Before we wrap up, Nate, if you could leave one piece of advice for other founders who are navigating the early stages of building something groundbreaking, what would it be?
I would say to build something groundbreaking, you can't start off by saying, I'm going to build something groundbreaking.
Okay.
And I know that sounds like it doesn't make sense. How I started PHOCIS Capital was I just had a product together that doesn't exist. And then slowly trying to understand and learn the product, I was able to then. So I would say for other founders, don't get stuck on competition. Don't get stuck on, well, this is what my there's something new out there. Like, I feel like every 2 to 3 months, there's a new bot being built. There's a new way to contact your clients. There's some new text message formats. There's email marketing where there's important messages that are clipped on top. There's always a new way into the eyes of whoever you're expecting to bring in. But you have to be
such insightful.
You have to be flexible, because if you just have one straight path, I don't believe that people organically know this is what I want and then they get it. I think we're us. So if you can let go of what you think is right and just let the world give you what it needs, it will be imagined on your own. But you have to let go for that. And I think that's the hardest part for a founder, is having a tight grip on your company while also having that continuity where you're able to let go and give away and trust, because you know that the people that basically you trust yourself that you chose the right people for that job. Because if you're just going to control everything from start to finish, then why have anybody work for you? It's really counterintuitive. So you have to have that balance. I know what I'm doing and I have no idea. And I got this and I need help. And I want to go down this path, but maybe there's another path that's better for me that I haven't found out yet. And you have to be open to that. So I would just, it sounds really cliche, but you have to be open. You have to be open-minded. You have to be willing to learn. You have to come from the place where you're probably wrong until you're right. And you have to be very patient because it takes forever. I don't care what you're doing. If you're building a car bra or Stack or you're selling hats on Shopify night, nobody's great overnight. And just put passion into what you believe in and don't worry about everybody else, really. It doesn't get you too far.
A profound and heartfelt piece of advice, Nate. Your perspective on balancing control with trust, being open to unexpected opportunities, and staying patient is so valuable. Its true founders often feel the need to control every detail, but the real magic happens when you trust your team, adapt to the unknown, and let the process guide you. Your journey with PHOCIS Capital is a testament to that mindset, and it's clear you've built something truly special by staying flexible and open to learning. Thank you so much for sharing your story, insights, and passion today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and I can't wait to see how PHOCIS Capital transforms the industry. Best of luck with the relaunch and everything ahead.
And if you don't mind, I would say, and in turn, thank you so much for having me on the show. I can't wait to see what your show turns into. I've looked at about 5 or 6 of your prior recordings with some other founders, and I have a feeling that one day we're going to look back on this recording and remember, I was in my house, you were in your house, we're in 2 separate countries, and sooner or later, we'll both be out on a platform trying to make a better world.
Thank you so much, Nate. That truly means a lot, and I'm humbled by your kind words. I absolutely believe we'll both look back on this moment as a stepping stone to something much bigger. It's been an honor to hear your story and vision, and I'm rooting for you and PHOCIS Capital every step of the way. Let's both keep pushing forward and making that better world a reality. Take care, Nate, and thank you again.
Thank you. Have a great 2025.
Thanks for tuning into the Founders Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories from amazing founders. If you're a startup founder and want to share your journey, head over to founder.show and sign up to be featured on our podcast. We can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, keep dreaming big.